Hello and welcome back to Dan Escapes. I hope you're all doing very well. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about my mountain bike experience in Madeira. But before we get on with that, if you're new to my channel, I am Dan and I like to escape by having fun on my bikes and doing various other adventures. If that interests you, then please do help by hitting that like button and subscribe to my channel, as it helps a lot and I appreciate it so much. If you watched my last episode, you saw I was out in Madeira and I loved it a lot out there. Now I'm back in the UK. Sad face. But yes, I just wanted to go over my mountain bike experience and what I did out there. Let me know in the comments below, have you ever considered doing mountain biking out in Madeira? I know, it's not the top of everyone's travel list, but hopefully I can persuade you to do it yourself. Madeira is a Portuguese island closer to Morocco than it is to Europe. And it's become very popular with mountain bikers due to a host of events that they hold out there and hundreds of trails that have been maintained. The main company is Freeride Madeira, and they will cater any trip for you, whether you're an advanced rider all the way to a beginner rider. They offer a shuttle service where they take you to the top of the mountain and then let you drop in and then pick you up at the bottom, where they will take you back to the top where you can do multiple trails all the way down again. You can either go with a very knowledgeable guide or just go off on your own and let the company pick you up. So mountain biking was on the top of my list when visiting Madeira, and I really wanted to do this experience with my partner. But actually, as a beginner, they suggested we do the cross-country ride. They initially suggested that I do the intermediate enduro rides due to my skill level, but I knew I wanted to experience this with her, so that's why we went on the cross-country ride, and it consisted of a 40-kilometer ride, about 600 meters of climbing, some of it very steep. And yeah, now I'm going to talk to you about what to expect on this cross-country ride. So you get picked up in Funchal and then they take you up to the mountains. You're paired with the enduro lot, but they dropped us off separately and we carried on our way, kept ascending just to get warm because it was pretty cold up there. So the shuttle service will pick you up back at the end and then take you back to Funchal. So that's the only time we saw the bus, whereas the enduro lot will have multiple shuttles up and down the mountain so they can ride as many trails as possible. So for the route itself, it is catered depending on the skill level of your group. So they will cater it for the lowest skilled rider on your group, just to make it fair, because if you're starting to go down steeper single track routes, it can get complex for them and will take a longer time. So for us, it was kind of an easier track due to a couple of beginners, and yeah, it was still very much enjoyable. So the route was mainly on dirt fire roads. Some of the descents had a lot of rock gardens in there, so it was pretty fun to ride through those at full speed. Some of the climbs are very steep and technical, which required a lot of fitness. So if you are considering doing this trip, do bear that in mind. If any of that does concern you, they do have electric hardtail mountain bikes that you can hire out, which I do recommend. So like I said, the route can be changed as we're going along, as the guide assesses our skill levels, and also they will change the route depending on the weather. As we were higher up, the temperature was pretty cold, not UK cold, but it was cold, and it was pretty misty because we're up in the clouds. But as you descended and came out of the cloud, it started to become a lot warmer and the sun was starting to make an appearance, which was very much welcomed. Even though I wanted to ride a lot of the single track and enduro routes on this trip, it was still so much fun just descending through the dirt roads and even on the steep roads going back into civilization. So the bike they gave us was a specialized stunt jumper, and I highly recommend it as it is a full suspension mountain bike. Just having that rear suspension soaks up a lot of the chatter and rocks when descending through the rough terrain, and it is very much welcomed. They did offer us a hardtail mountain bike and I decided against that, and I'm glad I made that decision, and I recommend if you're going to be doing something like this, do go for the full suspension if you can. The only thing I missed on this bike was a dropper post. It did not have one and my thumb kept reaching for the lever, and sadly it was not there. There was a welcomed addition to the bike, and that was an oval chainring, which helped a lot with the steep and technical climbs. As for refueling, I suggest bringing a small backpack or hip pack so you can carry some water and also some well-earned snacks. I just brought a small water bottle which went in the bottle cage holder, and that was to share between my partner and I. There were stops where you could fill up with water, so we never ran out. There was also a cafe that we stopped off in the forest. I can't remember where it was, but there wasn't much selection. We had a cake and also some coffee there. Well, I had a tea. And then later on, as we're descending into Machiko towards the end of the trip, that we stopped off at a restaurant for some well-deserved food and a welcomed breezer. After that, we carried on into the city centre and then into the beach. Where our chariot, the shuttle service, came and picked us up to take us back to Funchal. Overall, this was an awesome experience with amazing views from high up and would recommend it to anyone. I'm definitely coming back, especially to ride some more of the single track and enduro rides. Yeah, I'd just love to do a mountain bike trip out in Madeira for like 5 days or so. I would recommend the cross-country ride if you're new to mountain biking, but just remember it is intense exercise, especially being off-road with a lot of steep inclines and descending. Our guide Milton was awesome and very patient and helpful if you needed it. Definitely look at getting the e-bike if fitness and the climbs do scare you. Just remember that the bikes are very heavy and harder to control, especially them being a hardtail, so will be a bit more rough on the descents. Oh. If you do find yourself planning a trip to Madeira, then I do 100% recommend checking out Freeride Madeira to see what kind of trips you can do with them. My girlfriend was a bit skeptical at first, but she loved it in the end and I enjoyed it. It was such an amazing experience. On this trip, I also filmed our sunrise hike from Pico de Hierro to Pico Rivo, and it was such an incredible experience. And let me know in the comments below, do you want me to make a video about it and I can show you what we got up to and I can tell you what to expect. But yeah, that's it for today's episode. If you liked it, please do give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. It helps a lot and I appreciate it so much. Hope you're all staying safe, staying positive, having fun, and I shall see you in the next one.
Não queria ter essa